the other person could have, let's say, a red mark or a scratch. Hey everybody, this is David Kohlmeier. Thank you so much for joining today, The Problem Solver. Every single Thursday, approximately 4:30, when everybody gets in their seats, we are live here every single week in general, talking about different problems in general that's going on in the community all over the world. And again, I appreciate you guys joining us today. Today, we have some extra people, which is great. Today, again, first of all, our lovely co-host, Beija Rivera. Thanks so much.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. Hello, everyone.
And then we have Danny Miner, who is also another co-host, retired officer.
Thanks for having me again. Another week. Dave, I couldn't sleep all week. I knew we were going to have our super fan Steve on this show, and I know he's unfiltered. And then I saw our guest. You didn't even have to tell me anything about him. As soon as I saw the hat, I liked him. I liked the hat right off.
I'm excited.
So you know what? Let's go.
Awesome. And then we have a super fan Steve here. Steve, say hello to the audience, Steve.
Hello.
You got to get really
That
deep
was
into the microphone.
unfiltered.
Hello. Okay, so Steve's here basically as our super fan as well. And today our guest is Nephi Kaliki. Nephi, thanks for joining us.
Well, I'm happy to be here.
So Nephi is very unusual. His title is a Master Firearms Instructor. And the other title technically is Full Contact Gunfight Coach, which probably in today everybody needs their own full contact gunfight coach. Sounds like a twister there. So thanks so much for Nephi for joining us today, because you got a wealth of knowledge and we want to hear all about it. How are you
Let's
today?
talk about it.
Yeah, where do you want to start?
All right, so first of all, I just want to mention for the week in general, we're in here in Las Vegas, but there are people that are listening throughout, the world. I guess the big thing is recently in Highland Park in Chicago, there's been a recent shooting that took place that was pretty bad. We also had on Fremont Street, there's some shootings in general. So I guess the first thing I wanted to talk about for us as a group in general, especially for Vegas, is more people may be listening in Vegas in general. What are the thoughts that are taking place right now? We'll start with Nephi in regards to like gun violence and just where we are in the world today. Because I think I tell people, at least when I'm on the news, that things are more violent these days. Nephi, tell me what your thoughts are.
Well, we have to balance two ideas between that, whether it's just being covered more in the media, and that's the perception that it's occurring more, or is it actually happening more often? I can tell you from personal experience in being in Vegas since '96, it's definitely going downhill. There's definitely a lot more violent crime, a lot more shootings. There's people are really stressed out. Whenever poverty increases, so crime does with it. Whether it's being pushed more because we are in political season right now, and they're trying to push more stories to help with the general election coming up in November. There's a lot of factors, but at the end of the day, we're all on our own. I think the one common thread that's been happening with these mass shootings is law enforcement's lack of response. Like, this is driving me crazy. Like, if you guys are ex-cops, you get into it because you want to get in there and make a difference. You want to kick ass and take names. That's the general, consensus I have from just about every one of my cop friends or even my military friends is I want to kick the shit out of bad guys. And it happened here in Vegas. We had our department, they let them finish. It was very nice of them, right? They just let them finish. Didn't actually respond. And then we had that same thing happen, in Florida, and it's happened several times, and people have been fired over it. But it doesn't help the public confidence in, when I call the police, are they going to really help? And so now everybody's just kind of taking things in their own, it's almost becoming Wild Wild West, but not quite the same way. People need training. They need to take responsibility for their own personal protection because nobody's coming. I mean, even if they come, they're going to come with a broom and a dustpan and try to assign responsibility, but not necessarily stop anything.
I will say this. I mean, I definitely did. It's an interesting perspective. I know Danny, I could tell his facial gestures. He's ready to hop in for this one. But I will share with you, I do agree with what you're saying. In regards to finishing, I mean, that's a debatable situation because that can go back to training or basically people being really scared. which is another situation. I'm sure Danny will talk about that. But I do agree what you're saying in general. And I will share with you one thing, is I know that you have been very vocal and you've been, you're known in the community, you're online, people may know about your name in general. But I always say, this is the first time that we're really meeting and we're talking. And for what you're saying in general, I do agree in regards to what you're saying. Everyone has different takes on these different things in general. So, Danny, what are your thoughts there?
I agree with him about 75%. The thing that you brought up actually is very good. We have social media now. Back when I was a kid in the 80s, right? Something happened in California. I lived in Pennsylvania. Gosh, I wouldn't hear about it for 3 days later. Now you're hearing about it the minute it's happening, the second it's happening. People have cell phones. So I kind of agree with him where maybe these incidents were happening in the 80s, but we didn't get to hear about them. I also believe that these incidents are really being publicized now because of November. The election's coming up, so I totally agree with him there. The other thing I agree with him is the incident in Texas and in Florida where the one cop did not go in. I totally remember that. Totally agree with you there. We as police officers are trained to immediately go in and get the shooter. We are trained for that since Columbine. Okay, Columbine, they stood outside and they said, come out with your hands up. We had the place surrounded, and the kids were killing people. So since that incident, we as police officers, every single cop in America has been trained, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it, to go and shoot the suspect. To get in a shootout with the suspect, we sugarcoat it, but that's what it is. The only thing I don't agree with you with is the Las Vegas shooting, because he was up in a building. I mean, what were we going to do? Bomb him? I mean, there was really nothing the cops could do because he was up in a thing, unless they would shoot a grenade or a rocket. What could they have done? He was in a room.
That was going to be my question.
Draw his fire in a different direction.
Have done differently.
If it was me and that was an issue, they knew where he was. I'd have put some rounds through that door to draw his attention away from shooting out the window and let him shoot at us, right? We've got cover, we've got vests. Just get his fire off of that. Let him know we're here. Send some kind of signal to let him know that we're actually in there to engage him, and just distract him. Do something. The helicopter was there. They were afraid to come below, his line of sight.
I have a question.
There
What is
was
protocol?
something that could have been. There is no protocol because a tactical situation is a fluid situation. So you have to take it based on the scene.
Well, I'll share with you. I mean, I didn't really study the whole thing, but I know it was a narrow hallway, and he set up the camera, on the actual, what do you call that, room service. He set it up, right, to watch what was going on. I mean, technically, you're right. I mean, you could just start shooting in there and doing it like if you were SWAT, you would throw like a flash grenade or something like that. So it's interesting, I think, because of the hallway, and I think also was the security guard that got shot or something?
You can't just shoot at a room, Dave. Okay, you have people in their rooms.
Next door.
They can't be shooting from the ground and shooting
You know
out.
which room it's coming from.
That is true.
You can't do that. You cannot shoot at innocent people to stop that.
Yeah, they're going to
No.
You can't.
evacuate
Who's shooting
the
at
room.
innocent people?
That's
And then do it.
ridiculous. You cannot shoot up at that room.
Who said
can't.
shoot up at the room?
No. If you're in the hallway,
I'm talking about in the room, like outside the door,
Yeah.
right there.
if you're-
Okay, outside the door. Nobody was outside the door.
Yes,
it
they
took them
were.
a long time to get up
To
there.
figure out
No,
where
no,
I agree with you.
They
with
were
the
there for an
Texas incident,
hour.
but the Las Vegas cops did whatever they could do. This guy's 25 floors up shooting people. How are you going to stop him?
Well, I will share one thing in general. Every officer is a little bit different. So if you were a SWAT officer that showed up initially, they may do something a little bit different. You don't know. Everyone's a little bit different, right? Sometimes you see cops.
Let me just ask you, where did you get your training at? Were you a cop?
I have 6 years of bail enforcement, over 700 captures to my credit. in
Oh,
32
bail enforcement.
states.
Okay, so then you would know not to shoot at somebody, right? When shoot innocent people.
I don't know where the
Well,
innocent
I
people
don't-
are. I'm
Danny,
talking
so-
about standing
the
outside his
hotel
door.
is filled with people. You cannot be shooting. You said they
I'm
should be
talking
shooting
about
at the
outside
window.
his door.
No. He's saying in the hall.
I never said anything like that.
Danny,
at all.
listen. What he's saying is the following: if there's a hallway and there's a door in general, and you know that door specifically that there's a shooter inside that hallway, you could shoot at that door just if you wanted to kick in the door as well. I mean, the question really comes down to: is it booby trapped? How fast do you want to do the response, or do you wait for other backup? Do you wait for more tactical officers? What he's saying is to shoot at that door for basically
Draw his
distractions.
focus off
draw his
the
focus.
people.
Now, I don't think there's
How do you
anyone.
know that there's not other people in the room?
Well, it doesn't matter. They're involved in whatever's going
Well, it's-
on. You got to
Right,
make a
but-
choice.
Right, but they never, like, if it's a hostage situation, they don't put, You know, like they're not going to go shoot. You know, if there's 4 people in the room, like if
Yeah,
it's his
it's a shitty
girlfriend or if it's a
situation, no
child,
doubt, but-
they're not gonna do
I
that.
agree. It's
You
a
have to
shitty
minimize the
situation.
loss of life, and we already know there were 20,000 people being shot at, and there's only a limited number of people in that
Right, but
room.
everybody with the story keeps changing it. Like that security guard who got shot that day, he's like, they hit him now. He's in hiding. Like he went on the Ellen show and they put him and now he's like underground.
Because he got paid.
Right.
You got paid for what?
To not
Well,
speak
he got
about it.
paid as a victim, and it's not to.
Like that kid, they put him down in Mexico for a while.
Yeah,
Jose
he's under
Campos.
protective custody.
And
He's a
then-
security guard?
Yeah, the
I
security
didn't really hear
guard.
the story. What's the reason why?
Yeah,
Because everybody thought he was involved. Yeah,
Okay.
They don't
but he's
want,
not. He wasn't
like MGM
involved.
doesn't want to pay out and like take blame and stuff because all the footage, like they took that guy up in the elevator, like all his equipment up through service elevators that staff would use. But again, they all have cameras and all have stuff, but all that stuff could have been looked at, and MGM don't want to be liable for nothing.
All right, so let's just backtrack a little bit because I know we get a little bit excited here in general. I want to share with you this, with Nephi that I understand what you're saying because every officer is different. I saw a video where there was a cop in Metro basically started shooting outside, shooting in his patrol vehicle at the window because there was a shooter from outside. Not every cop would do that. And a lot of times, even myself, when the one time in 17 years that I got into shooting where I shot a dog, I remember thinking if I'm going to take a second shot to this pit bull, I was thinking, look, I think I already going to have to do paperwork because I already did 2 rounds. I might as well just take the 3rd shot. I literally was thinking about paperwork and administration at the time that I was going to take the 3rd shot at this dog. So could you imagine in a major situation? I mean, people think of different things in adrenaline. So what I'm saying is this. I don't think he's so wrong with what he's saying because in a tactical situation, sometimes you do different things. Most of the times, these situations you isolate, you contain. Like these are all cop words, right? We isolate the situation, we contain the person, but there's actively shooting. The question is, if the security guard or a police officer really started shooting and just broke down that door, and if he was able to do that, yes, he could save some lives. Just like in is it Florida, Texas?
Both.
Both,
right?
Yeah.
So the same situation. But I think in some situations, often probably hearing the gunshot rounds, people were scared. Even if you're a cop. And
So what if you're scared?
I agree, but I'm saying you have to push.
When were you in
Not
a
everybody
situation
has
like that?
that
When did you have to
education.
go risk your life? Because I've done it a ton of times. And you're
This is
picking
not
on
a-
the Las Vegas Metro Police
No.
for no
I'm
reason.
picking on
they did
Lombardo.
everything they could do. You got a guy up there on the 37th floor. You're going to just start shooting rounds at him? Shooting through
You
doors?
asked
Okay,
me what
hold
I
on.
would do.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what you would do is wrong. You cannot just
Okay.
shoot through a door. You can't. You can't just shoot through a door. There could be innocent people there.
Well, it's funny you say that. I mean, the truth is you can do
Unless
anything
you
you
got
want.
But there
like
wasn't because he was the
real
only
good
one in
shoot.
there.
Okay,
right?
let's
so I
move-
would have been right.
Let's move forward, General. So you're
You can't guess in
But he
police
was
work.
traveling
You
with
can't
his
guess in
girlfriend.
police
No, I'm
work.
not saying you.
Well,
You have to know facts before you go do something. You
all
can't
right.
just
Well,
guess.
then we shouldn't show up at all because we just didn't do anything.
all right.
to
So
stop it.
let's just say tell us if you were the security guard there.
And hold on a second,
Go
I'm
ahead.
just because what is important. I have been backing our officers for years. The problem isn't them; it's that they were told to stand down. It was Lombardo that told them to stand down.
I don't believe that.
All right. So what would you do? You're the security guard that's at the location right there.
I'm not the security guard. I
But
would
I'm just
never
saying,
be the
if you
security
put
guard.
yourself in the situation of the security guard,
Yeah.
what
We're
should the
talking about-
security guard do? Not the police.
You
Tell
have an
us-
opinion about it, so if you were in that
I
situation,
wrote
what
an
would you
entire
do?
report on this called the Kaliki Report.
Well, let's
So
talk
it's
about it.
very
I didn't get a chance to read it all. I did see it online. Just tell us.
But this is a rabbit hole we'd be going down if I talk about this stuff.
Well, just briefly. It's actually a good topic. If you
Okay.
because there's a lot of security guards that may
So
be listening.
understand that what I did for 10 years on the Strip,
Okay.
me and Blackjack, this dog down here, were the only people in Vegas history that had clearance to shoot on the Strip
That's for the pigeons.
for the pigeons. And I have shot hundreds of thousands of rounds on the Strip. I know every single conceivable angle for shooting, especially Mandalay Bay. That was one of my properties for 10 years.
By the way, just to recap on that, because I was new to this thing. Basically, you would go out there and shoot pigeons
All day.
What type of firearm?
25 caliber pneumatic rifle with a silencer.
I wanted to bring in. We have 3 pigeons outside that want to talk with you right now. I want to bring them inside here. No, I'm joking.
Are you
They
the
did
one
wanna
who
confront
put
me.
the,
I saw
the
Beija
Trump
be-
hats on the pigeons?
I'm not answering that question.
So here's the question: we could have an attorney present if you need an attorney if he's asking too many questions.
No, because they say you're the guy
They,
who
they
put.
do say that I did, but I'm not answering that question.
Okay, so
That's animal cruelty.
so here's a question: so you go out and shoot them with what type of firearm?
It's
Pellet gun?
like a 25 caliber pneumatic, so it's a scuba tank charge like 3,000 psi.
Is there any other way? Like I have pigeons on my roof. I have these like plastic things. Is that the way you got to get rid of them?
Especially if they're nesting, you got to whack them.
You got to whack them.
Because their instincts to read.
We need to get a
nest are
shirt
too
that says
strong.
"Pigeons Lives Matter."
Do you still do this?
Isn't it mating
No, I sold
season
that
right now? I
company
swear to God, these birds they just
They
keep
breed
going
all
and
year.
going.
Asia normally knows what mating season
1 o'clock,
is.
2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. Literally,
Yes,
they just
I
keep.
changed my mind. It is mating season.
It like.
How do you know it's mating season for pigeons?
The first thing that I thought when I heard them at that time was like, I want to shoot them.
What about the like you said that you can do something else with the pigeons, like with a
Repurposing.
well, like with the tennis ball and the keys.
Yes, you can get rid of. You can train them, but not nesting birds. The ones that are instinctively nesting at that one spot, the only solution to change their mind is to whack them. But
What's the tennis ball thing? What's the story with that?
It's behaviorism, conditioning. It's the same with a dog clicker. You just associate them with every time you see them, you click it, throw the ball at them, and if you do that 3 days in a row, the fourth night they won't show up.
Don't people eat pigeon?
Disgusting people do.
Did I heard like Tyson reached out to you when you were killing all them birds?
Tyson threatened me.
What happened with that?
He said, "Tell
He
that,
has
tell that
one,
pigeon shooting motherfucker I
right?
see him. I'm gonna kick his ass."
So what happened with Mike Tyson? By the way, Mike Tyson is here. We should have had Mike Tyson. I know we have
He's
to start
always in
preparing.
Vegas, Tyson.
I know.
He would be like, he'd be awesome on this show. He'd be like, don't kill them.
So what happened, tell us what
all
happened.
about
Love is
With what?
Tell us what happened with Mike Tyson.
life is beautiful.
No, it's just when we were all over the news for a long, long time. We're just dealing with basically fighting to build inroads to be able to do what we do, because we wore badges and uniforms as a humane society, and we had we were filming for reality TV, and there people were like, "Wait a minute, these guys are out there shooting on the strip." But the casinos were like, leave that guy alone. He's doing us a valuable service. It was much more involved than just shooting. It was a lot of behaviorism. But you have to have a credible threat, and you got to remove the core of the group. So we were in the news a lot, and Tyson was in the news a lot at the same time because he had that show about pigeons. Okay. So he would see my stuff, and then I would see his stuff, and we have a mutual friend, and this mutual friend was saying, Mike Tyson keeps saying to tell that pigeon killer that I ever see him, I'm going to kick his ass. Because we were shooting pigeons. So,
okay.
And we made a joke about shooting one.
So how many years did you do the pigeon thing for?
12.
That's a long time to be doing it.
Yeah, well, I sold the company with one phone call back in like 2015.
So it's still going out on the strip, people?
Yeah, they changed the name, but...
Who does it now?
I don't know. It's like Airborne something.
And they still shoot him?
It was really stupid.
Pigeon whacker.
Yeah, quietly, but I'm one of the sneakiest peoples with a gun you'll ever meet. Literally, our main job was not to be seen. So the public didn't know that we were... But I'd be hiding in the bushes down on the ground, and then we'd have a guy with blackjack in the net, and just
so you would clean
distraction,
it up.
Constantly.
What do you do with all the dead birds?
We feed them to other predatory birds that are in captivity.
So.
Circle of life, right?
All right, so we discussed a little bit about the pigeon situation, which I didn't know much about. So I guess we're not going to give you a pigeon for the holidays.
No,
pet pigeon.
Please don't. I've had enough.
That's what we should give, like pet pigeons to like kids or something like that. Some school programs.
So are you still in business? Because I have some birds around the neighborhood.
No,
I
sold that company in 2015.
Okay,
I got a question.
Doing gunfights.
Beija, did you ever see a baby pigeon?
No.
It's because they're fake.
They're not fake. They're just so ugly they won't go in public. They are. They look like Dennis Rodman. Like they're just little hideous.
Is there a way to show up a picture of Dennis Rodman on the screen right now?
Yeah.
Can we show a picture of Dennis Rodman?
22 years.
22 years.
Guys, just a reminder to talk into the microphone because people cannot hear you whatsoever if you're not talking. You're not eating this microphone.
You heard what I said, White Horse Mafia. You still do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it? What's that?
What is that? Yeah.
White Horse Mafia is political ops. I did not do that publicly until 2018 when Steve Sisolak paid another operative to set up Adam Laxalt for fake rape charges. I decided I would come out if the story got traction, and it did. They flew this girl down to Vegas from New Orleans, and she was going to go on record and say that Adam Laxalt raped her in college. And so it started to get traction. I and I provided the media and Laxalt's attorneys with all the evidence proving that they were pitching this story on the down low back in February, March, and the girl didn't even come forward till like September, October. So I got the story killed, saved Adam Laxalt's career, and we still lost by 4 points in the general. But I've been doing those. I went out of bounty hunting into political ops. After six years of bounty hunting, I just switched to politics.
And what do you do with this White Horse Mafia thing now?
I work opposition research. I do strategic operations. I do stuff to make people uncomfortable.
What about the
What is that,
lady
like breaking
from-
knees? You break knees?
No, that stuff.
What about the lady
Break
from
spirits.
North Las Vegas? Like, she was all mad that
Sherry
you,
Buck.
that you were killing all the pigeons and
Which one?
well, the lady, did she resign or I heard
Sherry
she left?
Buck?
Yeah,
We
like she was.
I campaigned. I ran the counter campaign against her. We kicked her straight out of North Las Vegas.
But that was because of the pigeons.
Yeah. She went after, because Mike Montanan was the mayor, and then he termed out. He's a great mayor. He's still a very close friend of mine. And then Sherry Buck got in by some fluke, and then she decided to kick our program, which was supposed to be made a public utility for North Las Vegas, to be able to get rid of all of the pigeons in the city. And she kicked the program because it was Mike's idea, not hers. And I'm like, hey, man, what are you doing? I got stuff going on here, whatever your beef is with him. So we went at it. That's where all the media was business ruffles city's feathers. There was a lot of tongue-in-cheek. It was the number
But
3
did you
story.
start the White Horse Mafia because of that, or you?
No,
were
I was
doing
involved in that before.
Before?
Yeah, right after. I started working on that in the first mayoral campaign with Mike Montanan back in
This
late 90s.
This conversation regards like politics and stuff like that you're talking about generally. People, the average person doesn't think probably this stuff really happens in general.
Oh, yes, it does.
And I don't really follow all this at the T, but everyone talks on social media with Clinton in general, that everyone's died. Whoever knows like Hillary Clinton, they're all dying. What's your take on that one? I don't follow it to the T.
There are 3 things you need to maintain a corrupt power structure. You need to be willing to pay people off. You need to have dirt on other people, and you need to be willing to do violence.
It's politics.
That's
deadly politics.
corrupt power structure, right? There are all of those elements within the whole Hillary Clinton camp.
Like, why are all these people dying that are connected to Hillary?
Well, because, like, for example, the guy Seth that was apparently robbed.
Some random street or something?
He's the one that gave WikiLeaks all the information about the DNC.
Got it.
So somebody went ahead and pay for that.
So Danny, I'm not sure if you thoughts in regards to politics or things that he's talking about. You're from Pennsylvania, Steven's from Pennsylvania as well too. I mean, do you believe that there's politics and stuff like this like happens everywhere? I mean, do you believe what he's saying in regards to that?
I believe that all our politicians are corrupt. I totally believe we are at the point where I can't trust a Republican and I can't trust a Democrat.
He's right.
That's
They're
100% true.
they're all selling something, and it's all for votes. That's all it is. The minute the Texas shooting happened, it was the gun's fault. Instead of going where the real problem is, it's mental health, they decide it's the gun's fault. It's all political, Republicans, Democrats, and we're the ones suffering for it. They're supposed to help us instead of hurting all of us.
No, he's 100% right. I've been.
I agree
This
with
is
that.
the
I
first
agree
time.
with that as well.
The first time since I've been involved in politics where I've said, you know what, I'm going to move away from political ops, and I'm going to focus on building the Concealed Carriers Union and using those resources from White Horse Mafia and everything else we've done to build the union. Because I'm about sick of losing, for one. Our party is in the shitter, and it's just as lost as the other ones.
What I'm saying is, Danny, do you believe someone like himself or other people exist where they're trying to, really, what would you say, really affect the
black
outcome?
ops. Yeah.
Black ops for politics, right? Like to make people not win or go against each other, right? There's conspiracy theories now with Lombardo and with Sisolak that they're just doing it so that Sisolak can win again.
Oh,
You know who that
Totally.
came from, right?
Where did it come from?
That's all my work.
Got it.
I'm the one that did
What-
all the opposition.
But I think
on
other people said
Lombardo.
that. Do you know about that conspiracy?
no, I didn't even hear that.
Tell us the conspiracy of it.
It's not a conspiracy.
Well, tell us what you thought.
Do you know why we're blue state?
No.
Lombardo. We had one October shooting, Right. Well, let me back you up a little further so you see how the cycle of the politics works.
Go ahead.
We had question 1, which was a Bloomberg initiative. He's the enemy of all firearms rights in this country, right? And Lombardo's aligned with him still, right? Question 1 passed. Then the Democrats celebrated their great defeat of the Republicans in Nevada. We had universal background checks. Then a Republican governor and a Republican attorney general, Laxalt and Sandoval, found a little typo in their law and had the whole thing nullified, which is why we don't have gun registrations in Nevada right now.
What do you mean, no registration?
We have no gun registration in Nevada.
Oh, you're talking about the blue card.
Yeah, blue card. Well, yeah, that's gun registration.
Right.
No more.
But every year it gets more lax and lax and lax, like nothing.
That's not by design, right?
But that's how it's been.
They got rid of blue cards to make way for the universal background checks, which is worse. So when the 2 Republicans had that law neutered, it left us with a negative space and cost the Bloomberg group $30 million.
But you do agree that every year it gets lax
Yes,
and lax,
but this
right?
is not the point. I'm telling how we got to where we're at. Then 1 October happens. That got it done, didn't it? Right? We flipped blue. And Sisolak's problem was he didn't have any name recognition because he was just a county commissioner, and anybody who's been around town a long time know he's always been an asshole. And so Lombardo put him in front of everybody on the newscasts and the press conferences and all these other things, and in charge of the Victims Fund, which was seen by millions and millions of people. That's brand recognition. That has monetary value. And then the rape allegation for Laxalt happened. Laxalt only lost by 4 points. So it was the extra boost that Lombardo was giving him in the media that pushed him over the top, and we went blue. So when you say I'm sick of the parties and I'm sick of both of them, so am I. So am I. I'm tired of working for people that don't appreciate the level of skill that goes into these kinds of ops, and then to take it and flip it politically. Like Michael McDonald, talked Trump into endorsing Lombardo when Lombardo was voted down by the party. He got no party support, and then Trump's over here just getting smoke blown up his ass, and none of us agreed with it. And Lombardo, mark my words, Lombardo will not be governor. Sisolak will be governor. Those two have been working hand in hand for years. They shared billboards in 2018. And now they're going to say, I'm running because I'm mad at my friend. You don't go after your friend's job because you're mad at him. You go after a job because you could do it better. And so the side of those politics that I've been seeing since I've been here in 96, I've been through the stripper gate and all the half our county commission went to prison. I was involved in a lot of that stuff. On the back end of this, man, it's worse than bounty hunting. I found more violence in politics than I did in 32 states across the country chasing fugitives. It was more exciting for me. The thrill was greater in politics than it was in bounty hunting.
You know, I always wanted to get involved in politics back in the day, and even out here, I've been here 20 years. But I did notice that it just seemed like every politician eventually gets arrested, or they lose their spot.
Convicted of something.
There's commingling of funds.
Because they don't play ball.
They're taking funds, or they get like very cocky, and all of a sudden they think they're invincible. They can do whatever they want to do, or they start dating each other, and then they have problems. And so I've seen a lot of things, even in Henderson, which is a small city. I've seen a lot of things going on, and even like Las Vegas. So it makes me nervous. So to me, my main thing is better off just spending time with my family and just living it out, and not being involved in politics.
You mean burying your head in the sand?
Exactly.
No,
and that's
living
sweeping
with
everything under the rug, and that's what everybody does. And then they wonder why everything is still so corrupt, because nobody's speaking up. Everybody's like, you know what? It's too much to get involved in. It's too much to get involved in, okay? And so we all just turn the other cheek. We just enjoy our time with our families and just not even try to get into something like that, which it is a lot to get involved in. I mean, come on.
But it's
Hillary's
a losing battle.
people are dropping dead. We don't want to drop dead.
No, but what I'm saying, it's a losing battle.
not like that on the local
You could
level.
fight that all the time, and the politics is going to be like that for another 1,000 years. Like, it'll never change.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, whether you bury your head under the sand or you out there every day fighting and doing the thing, but nothing's going to get fixed.
No, okay. but here we are fighting for, what is it? Gun rights?
Right.
Well, that's
what are we
one
really
that
talking
we can't
about?
let go of.
And see, we agree together there.
One thing.
Yes.
So what?
We agree together on that one.
But everybody's speaking up about it, you know?
Yeah, but the gun rights will never go away completely.
You'll never get rid of guns, is what you mean.
Well, the guns will never get rid of, and you'll never get rid of, gun rights completely.
You know how you could do that? Just follow our UN Charter. Our UN Charter calls for all countries that are a member of the UN to do away with small arms. We've been in violation of that because of our Constitution for years. And so don't think it's not possible.
I mean, with the Second Amendment and everything, they say that they never. I mean, each state will do something, some bullshit. They'll make the magazine less rounds. They'll do small stuff,
chip away at it.
Right, but they're not gonna take it completely. And the states that like, you'll never have a gun in New York, California, Chicago, like legally. Not for the bad people, but the good people are not going to walk around concealed over there.
That's, what just happened in the Supreme Court, right?
Yeah, I heard a little bit about it.
This is a lot of it. This is the most significant ruling in the Supreme Court regarding guns in probably 100 years.
Tell us more detail about it, because we spoke about it the last show, but you're probably more educated.
But when Justice Scalia was still alive before he got Hillaried, one of his final rulings was that all barrelable arms were covered by the Constitution, meaning you could pick up anything and defend yourself with it in that Second Amendment. That was significant. But then other states like may issue states or I won't issue states like New York, they are now federally precluded from requiring an individual to show cause for applying for a permit, which means every state is essentially becoming a shall issue state. So if you apply for it, you meet the requirements. So what they're going to do is they'll be passive aggressive about allowing it to happen, like California did. The AG's office literally doxed all the gun owners and CCW permit holders in California, which put their lives at risk. This is our government participating in doxing.
They put everybody's address out, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that. That's crazy.
So, and this is not new for me because I'm currently involved in a major lawsuit against Metro for trying to cancel me. But you have government now that's doxing and canceling people. That's a social mob mentality, both of those things, and our government starting to do it. This has been a significant gain for us, but it's also enraged the left. And they're going to do everything they can to delay your process. Oh, we lost your paperwork. So sad, right? Just mess with people because they've messed with me twice. Every time I do a massive CCW class, they try messing with me.
Right? For what reason?
Because I'm putting thousands of people through permits. It's cool if only a few of y'all are doing it, but if you start making a habit of this and you start lining them up by the thousands, no, we got to stop this.
But that's not why they took your license, though, right?
The first one is because they said the class was too short, but we were there from 8 in the morning until like 5 or 6. They said it was too short because they snuck an undercover officer in, and then they started the clock from the time he snuck in. He snuck in surreptitiously. He didn't act like he had a ticket. He wasn't late. He was acting like he was in the bathroom. And so we had to do all of them twice. So those 1,000 students did their permits twice.
And then
the second one is because I was telling jokes. So it's, we're going to suspend you. That's an unapproved slide. We're going to
That's for the racist stuff that we were talking
racial
about.
Stuff.
Well, they say racist.
Yeah.
Tell, I know there was some...
but if the racist stuff, like...
racial stuff, yeah.
Either way, whatever you want to call it.
It is different.
Because I'm not a racist.
Well, no, I'm not saying you're
would
racist,
have to be
but I'm
racist
saying that it's
racist.
It's racist stuff is what they say.
That's what they said,
What was said?
They said that, like, he put up a slideshow, and there was a black guy holding a gun sideways, and one of the first lines on it says, like, if you're a black person, you need to lick the chicken grease off your fingers before you shoot the gun.
The fuck?
And then it kept going down the list.
He doesn't deliver it right. Let me just tell you. Number one,
He shouldn't be.
Right?
He shouldn't be.
Always make sure you shoot the gun right side up. Number 2, always lick the chicken grease off your fingers before you shoot.
Number 1, you should always point the gun upright, like you say.
Right.
Number 2, don't ever include anything that has anything like stereotypical.
Why not?
Or what the fuck? Are you serious?
Yeah, I could defend this intelligently and brilliantly.
And that's probably why you got your license. Like,
well, he said that
you can't do that over free speech.
The goal is to have a normal conversation about this. So explain
free
why.
Speech.
Explain why.
Proper speech.
Explain why.
You understand that I did it for every racial group in there, including my own.
I'm sorry.
Right. So, but you want to focus on one particular
group. But hey,
group.
that's that. I just want to know for all the viewers that are watching.
I don't know.
What does it take to come into your class? What do they have? Like, what are the?
I won't answer that question until you allow me to explain why.
Yeah,
go ahead. Go ahead.
There is a very important concept in self-defense that has to do with bare fear versus imminent threat. Most people use common stereotypes to assess threats, and this is very, very bad judgment.
I do agree with you.
So I am highlighting a point of recognize the stereotypes. The guy that's sagging his pants, or the guy that's got the bandana and the
chicken grease on his fingers.
Whatever the stereotype, it's not reliable as a means of determining a true threat. You have to look at opportunity and ability, all of these things, so that people can see through the fog. Because where you might not be, you think you don't participate in stereotypes, but everyone does. And some people respond to positive ones. Like, I don't know any black guys that complain about the stereotype of them having big junk, right? Or Asians that really do well in testing, right? Nobody complains about the stereotypes as long as it's a compliment, right? But we do have influence. And if you're talking about a gun safety class, I'm going to give this person a permit to carry a firearm they could potentially shoot someone with. I want to make sure they know the difference between bare fear and a threat.
Then
and
explain that. And
I'll
don't
teach the class, not
else.
you. Well, I know how to teach this.
Let me share something with you. See, I'm not a person.
But with the class that you teach, if they want the racist class or the non-racist class,
don't sign up.
No, but can you pick between the two? Like if you say,
sure,
hey,
I have multiple instructors.
Okay. Right, so all your instructors don't teach the same racist class. If they want the non-racist,
it wasn't necessary.
It's a 30-second joke in an 8-hour class.
But that's what I'm saying. But if nobody,
it didn't have anything to do with bearing arms.
It certainly did. Every single one of those jokes was about gun safety.
All right, let me just say something real quickly. First of all, I'm the type of person where I don't need to get emotional about any of this conversation. I understand what you're saying. It's his class.
Yeah, it's my class. Don't come.
If you want to look up his reviews...
Well, I tell you, I wouldn't come. That's the truth. I wouldn't come to your class because that is racist.
So,
that stereotype is not racist because I'm not racist.
Well, listen, nowadays, you can't bring this stuff up.
That's why I do it.
So who would take your class when you're doing that stuff?
I had 400s. Nobody has put more students in a CCW class.
Well, I guess not. That's why they suspended your license, right?
Yeah, so what? Now I'm suing them over it because you can't sue me or you can't suspend my license over telling a joke.
Well, actually, it's not even if you're sharing.
It's not a joke. You're offending people.
Yeah.
You're offending
my
people.
classes weren't offended. Play the video. They were laughing.
I bet you there was people in your class offended.
Where are they?
I'm sure there was.
There is people offended from your class.
Bring in the watermelon, and that would have
read their stuff. The guys from your class.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
None of my students spoke out against me. None of them.
Well, the people online spoke out, and they said they were in the class.
Nope, untrue.
My daughter is texting me right now, she's actually thinking about it. She's trying to think about it.
All right, so let's just recap. I want you to hear me out.
Let's see.
I want you to hear me out.
You're going to play the other one?
No, we'll do that a little bit. No,
I knew you'd chicken out.
No.
We need some more background work over here.
Listen, I'll share with you. I think they're all getting a little bit emotional about it. I am not being emotional about it.
Don't be upset about it.
There's nothing.
I'm not emotional.
I think you could teach a gun class without putting that in. Okay? That's what I think.
You can.
You could put a gun class without putting that in. That's ridiculous.
It has nothing to do with bearing
You can sit here and justify it all you want. It's ridiculous. Final.
But that isn't how you would do it.
I said what I said.
But listen, let me ask you a question. Well, you guys are getting way too emotional, which is actually
it's not me.
It's okay.
Not you.
We're here to talk about it. We're here to talk.
I want you guys to hear me out. If you go into a community that's older, let's say white people in general,
they wouldn't find it funny.
And no, just hear me out. You're talking about.
And if you went to an urban,
I'm trying to.
You know what my audience was?
Oh, okay. Let's talk.
It was 50-50 minorities. I have a tremendous amount of minorities in my class because I am one.
And you know what's sad is that they're going to put up with it because that's the only way that they can go through with it to bear an arm. They're going to put up with this shit.
Why would you
They're
say
going to put up because they do.
There's other classes.
There's 100 other instructors.
You can leave the class.
Yeah, there's 184 of them.
Just saying.
Why would you say that?
Why do they come to me then?
They can go to any class they want to go. They could leave the class if they're offended.
They all choose to be there.
Leave the class if you feel offended.
You should see the disclaimer I gave at the front of the class.
So first of all, the bottom line is
don't put up with shit.
Anybody can leave a class at any time that you want. You didn't have to be there. I'm sure the class was also a free class.
No, it wasn't.
That one was it
paid
free?
$50 to be there.
Okay. So I'm sure if someone would have complained, would you give them money back?
Sure.
Okay.
I wouldn't sign their paper.
Got it, because they're leaving. They're not going to be in the class. They would leave in general. So the bottom line is you don't have to be in a class. You've been to certain classes, people say things. What I'm trying to explain is the following. If he's talking about stereotypes of different people in order to prevent somebody from just shooting another person because of a race or religion or what they wear, that is an interesting conversation to have because there are a lot of people that are scared and intimidated if they see a black person or a white person, if there's a Muslim person, or if they're wearing different garment as well because of their culture, people get intimidated.
They hold their purses a little closer to them.
But I'm being serious in regards to this conversation I'm saying right now. What I'm saying is people get intimidated. If you see a bunch of people walking down the street and they're wearing different cultural garment, people can be scared.
Yep.
People can be intimidated unless you're very diverse. I grew up in a school in New York City where there was black, there was Asian, there was white, there was Jewish, there was Muslim, right? I was in the sector of New York City where it was mixed. But in some places, whether you're in Pennsylvania or Wyoming or Nebraska, maybe it's all white people and you don't have any black people in the class. So people are more intimidated and scared when they see a different race or even a different religion or a different garment on people. So I don't think there's anything wrong with discussing it. If you didn't like the class, you could leave. Well, I'm not saying that he's racist. I wasn't in the class. Hold on. I wasn't in the class. I don't know what he was saying. I didn't see the way his speech was. That I could say he's racist. For you to say, you could read reviews all day long. There's going to be people say that I'm a scumbag as well and that I'm not a nice guy.
But sometimes reviews, there's truth to it.
What I'm saying is that's fine, but it doesn't make a difference. He doesn't care what the reviews are. There's a lot of bad reviews for everybody, for everything. It doesn't matter who you are. You can go on right now to any police department and there's bad reviews. Does that mean that's all the cops are bad people because there's bad reviews? You can go to different law firms and they're bad. They're going to say, oh, this law firm's horrible, right? You can go into schools. The school system has reviews and they'll say the teachers are horrible here. Everybody's got something to say. But what I'm trying to say is just to finish this topic because I don't want to be here forever. I wasn't in the class to talk about stereotypes. We talk about that in policing, cultural diversity classes and stuff like that in general. So there's nothing wrong. Now, I wasn't there. If he said straight out like that black guy or that Muslim guy, and basically if he said something that was racist, then that's a different story. I wasn't there. I didn't see any videos. So when you talk about racial jokes in general. Now, here's the story. If he wants to make a racial joke and that's his class, whether it's right or wrong, it's his class. And the bottom line is, whatever he got suspended, the reason why he got suspended was because someone came in, which they believe was a undercover officer. Who was it?
No, it's because the video went viral.
Because of the video. No, but they were saying that the class wasn't 8 hours.
That was the first one.
The first one.
I did this I set a world record for the largest CCW class in 2018. That's the one an undercover snuck into.
But the reason why...
This one was because of the viral
So the reason why that your license got suspended is why?
For using unapproved slides in the presentation.
Which was of racial nature. They're saying it was racist. They're saying it.
Well, no, it's because Lombardo got pressure from different political groups during his campaign, and he wanted to shut me up.
And right now, you're fighting that with a lawsuit.
Oh, they're going to pay me big time
because you're saying it's what freedom of speech, First Amendment, right?
Okay, so I just want to say something real quick.
Go ahead.
I guess my number one question really was how many jokes were made in that class. I don't know.
For the whole day?
Again, I wasn't there. I don't know if that was the only one.
No, I told all of them.
Okay. And then
every group, including
also,
my own.
Shout out to my daughter. She's in the other room watching this.
Why is she watching?
She just turned 11 because I'm texting her and she said, it sounded more stereotypical than racist, but it depends on the person you are saying it to if they get offended about it. So I don't know if there's really one...
She's 5 years old saying this.
She's 11.
I'm joking.
So I don't know if there's really one right answer. Like there's certain things people can say that are racist, like beaner to a Mexican. that's racist, but saying things
it depends
like
on who's saying.
Get the chicken grease off your fingers, then pull the trigger. I don't know what that would be. It's honestly just a racial joke, but it would probably offend a black person. So there's really no one right answer. I love this girl.
What about this comment? You had a comment on there saying that if when you shoot, that the black person shoots like another black person in the crowd to kill like another gang member or potential gang member.
Stereotypical shit.
Always aim for a small child so you actually hit a gang member.
Right.
Because gang members always miss. That's a joke about accuracy.
And then what about what you
Why
said
is it the black ones you're focused on, by the way?
True.
Why is it the black ones that you were focused on, by the way?
He brought it up. Were there any Jewish jokes? I'm Jewish. Or Italian ones?
That's religious. It's a
were
different
there
category.
any Hispanic ones?
Yeah, play it.
Okay.
Okay, play it. Come on.
So let's do this, okay? Just to recap again in general. I want to recap. This is very important.
You gotta see if she doesn't
so here's the story.
You did say to blame the white person, though.
Always make sure there's a white person around to blame for everything that goes wrong in your
I'm
life.
here.
White person?
That's fucking racist.
I'm the white person.
But so were the white jokes. So were the Hispanic
So you're
jokes.
agreeing. So can you just agree that you feel a type
the question
of way?
is
they, I yes, intentionally use stereotypes in
But here's
jokes.
the question.
Yes.
If you
Okay, there you go.
Here's the question.
That's
If
all.
you're saying jokes of every race, does that make you racist? Even if he's making a joke about his own race. It's different if he didn't talk about his race too, and he's talked about all the other different races.
Absolutely.
He did it of every
They were
race.
laughing hysterically.
I'm glad
in
you're
that
trying to
room.
make it a fun class.
Yeah, me too.
I
Because
would
it is fun.
preferably, I would want to go to, I guess I would try to
Elmer
go to a class
Fudd
that
would
make
bore
it
you
fun.
to death.
Yeah, these classes get boring.
You know
Okay.
my students.
Go. Let's play it. Let's
So
talk about it.
let's talk about this. So what are we seeing now? Tell us what we're going to be watching.
So you're going to watch just a sneak peek because we do a full series of these called Gun Safety for the Races. And since everybody's upset about me commenting on other people's races, I figured it'd be better to have a representative from each race tell their own joke.
How much of you know you may want to hire Beija because she's trained and certified in puppetry. So
What?
She's trained and certified in puppetry.
Are you
so if
joking?
You need someone to, no, I'm serious.
Fuck.
She always has like puppets with her in a bag.
By all means, don't spoil the joke.
Okay. All right, so let's put on the video.
This is fucking hilarious.
But let's just recap. So what are we watching again?
So we're doing this in full production value for it's like a series like you might be a redneck if you kind of jokes that just has a lot of traction, a lot of content. You could have gun safety for plumbers, gun safety for this. It's just a
all
way to engage.
stereotypical, pretty
It's all
much.
stereotypical, yeah.
It really is. My
Right.
daughter's saying the same thing.
Well, yeah, stereotypes aren't racist.
All right, so what is it called again?
Gun safety for the races.
So gun safety for the racists, not
For the
for
stereotypical.
races.
Gun safety for the
Something about
races.
racism. I'm like
gosh.
racist. So the
Not the
races. The
racists.
Let's
races.
clarify that.
Okay, so you ready to play? Okay.
R-A-C-E-S.
So let's do this. Let's try to be
Yes.
very quiet. Let's not
Okay, unless
let's not
you
go
laugh.
crazy.
Then you laugh.
If you're gonna laugh, okay. Let's see. Okay, here's the story. If
Can
you
I take
laugh,
the bathroom?
does that mean you're racist?
No,
If you laugh, that means you're racist. Yes or no? Well, then you
it
can say it's a
doesn't
joke.
mean that. It means it's funny.
Then it's a joke, right?
It's a joke.
Okay.
Lighten up, people.
All right, so it's a minute and 20 seconds. We're going to
Yeah.
watch it. It's a preview of what you're doing on. Let's roll. Let's go for it. Make it a little bit louder if you don't mind. Let's go.
R-A-C-E-S.
Beija, close your eyes.
See, gun safety for the Hispanic people. Number one, always remember to enter through the front entrance. I guess they don't want you to climb the fence. I don't know what that one's about. I don't know. Say, we're happy to be here in America, mow your lawn. Número dos, always be ready to present those form of fake ID for the La Carta Verde. Número tres, always remember to let the range staff do their jobs. Even though we know you can do it for half the price. You scrub the shit. Carajo. Número cuatro, always remember to put your keys back in the cages after leaving the range. For the carro, for the truck, you put them in the car. Sometimes you put it in the big cage for like the German Shepherd, is grande, very grande. You put for the maybe 5, 6, maybe 10 keys in there. It's your prerogative, senor. See, whatever you want. See.
Well, thank you, Jesus, for being on the program. You have any final words for Hispanics and gun safety?
Viva la raza! And for the pistola, está bien. Again, happy to be for the DOS amendment, está bien.
We need beer.
What's up?
So,
first of all,
so do you have different races?
Yeah, all of them.
So you're going to be doing different races?
All of them.
All of them.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to put them all on this show.
Beija represents the Hispanic community here. Go ahead.
I just feel like, just as black people feel like you can only say the N-word, whether it be with the ER or or the GA, whatever slang kind of term, whatever it is, they could say it within each other. They get offended when other people say it, of course, because of history and everything like that. Hispanics would feel the same way. Don't call them, and
Wait,
I could
are
say
you
it,
Hispanic?
beaners, okay? So you could call them that or wetbacks or whatever, but we could call each other that, but we get offended when other people say that. And as a white person, you know, when you say...
Too many eggshells
I'm
on
part
the
white
floor.
too, so I could say cracker, you know, then they get like upset about that.
Wait,
so I
did
feel
you
like
just
I've never got upset
She
about
just
that.
uses
I
a
didn't know what it
racial
meant.
slur.
within each other, I feel like you could
It's
say
time for
that.
dinner. I mean,
But
what-
I didn't know what it meant. I thought it meant we were as white as a cracker. I had no idea what that meant.
When other
Honest to
people,
God.
Isn't that what it means?
other
No.
races say it, I just feel like there's this thing that
Well,
comes
you
into
know what's
play
interesting?
where they
So,
feel like...
You know what's interesting is when I was a cop in Henderson, there was
I find it funny because
You find it
this
funny?
is what me and my family, or you know, whatever, my Hispanic
So would
side
you
of the
learn
family
gun
can-
safety better by this type of more of a comical
no.
message? No.
No,
Why?
that is terrible. Like,
Well, you'd rather
I
sit in
would
an 8-hour
I would totally be more like stand up for the people, know your rights, don't make a joke about it like that.
You're not a teacher, though.
It's gun safe, but it's
He's trying to be engaging.
It's gun safety.
Whether you like it or not.
8 hours.
No, that's fine. No,
8
that's totally
hours.
fine. Again, it's your class.
Yes.
You're the teacher.
And I'm the number one instructor in
Okay,
Vegas.
and you can do that.
I'm
Now
not
we're
gonna
just here to
change.
I thought
talk
Danny
about
was
it.
number one.
Who said
Now
that?
there's so many other
You
instructors out here.
said you said you're number one, but
Absolutely.
who said that?
What do you mean? And nobody does more students than me, and
I'm
I'm the
talking
number
about
one
more-
rated instructor.
Is that on Google?
Right, but who rated
Is
you?
that rated?
And who
Yeah.
said this?
Go to Google and look up reviews. I have almost 300, and the next closest instructor has
Yeah, but
maybe
all
20.
the reviews that I've seen on you are pretty bad.
No, you haven't.
Yeah, I have.
I have 5-star ratings
No.
Where do you have 5-star
like-
ratings at?
on
The-
Google.
No, I seen your ratings like 3.5, 3.7,
What are you talking
3.9.
about? Where?
You used to have the gunfighting place, right?
That's closed. Those ratings are because we're closed.
Right, but even
Vegas CCW is the number one.
Right, but it's the same.
in
It's
Google.
the same
All right,
building, right?
No.
It's different.
Different.
Why don't you look?
business.
You got your
You're-
phone. Why don't
you're
you
not-
look it up? What we talking about?
It's not the same business.
Look it up.
Gunfights is closed.
Right, that's closed. But I'm saying, but is it at the same place?
No, it's a different business, different location.
because it shows
different
up online as both places as the same address.
No. There's no. I closed that in 2018.
The place you got now, Range Time.
Elani said,
Range Time is brand new.
Right, that address shows as the same address as.
What are you talking? Range Time, Vegas CCW. We're talking about CCW here.
I'm talking
Try not
about
to
Range
confuse
Time.
25 years. What does Range Time have to do with CCW?
I thought Range Time is your place.
I do own Range Time, yes. And if I have bad reviews on Range Time, it's because of that video. But as Vegas CCW hasn't touched that.
Well, for the Range
Time has
I
nothing
see,
to do with CCW.
Right, but I'm saying for the Range Time, I see
Okay,
the
listen,
bad
it
reviews.
doesn't really make a
and I
difference.
see
For the
bad re-
video.
and I see it for the gunfighting place too.
Gunfights are closed. Been closed for what year is it? 4 years, almost 4 years been
right,
closed.
but it's still your reviews.
Brother, we're talking about Vegas CCW.
Okay,
I
listen,
don't
it
care
doesn't-
about a business that's closed. And
Listen.
people are mad because they showed up and it's closed. I don't care about
But
that.
they said like you took a lot of money, different things from them. A lot of people got scammed, and there's like a lot of different things people say. So the problem is if people see you got a new business, because I got a lot of guys that shoot and do different things, and they told me and they say like if this guy had that business, this other business is going to be fucked up too. Then, so
Okay, they don't know about being an entrepreneur. I'm not the only person that was affected by COVID. I'm not the only person that's been affected by the economy and businesses when they close. There's
But
stuff
Gunfighter
happens.
was way
or been
before
affected by
the COVID.
stereotypical comments.
No, I closed it it was pretty much done. We started to rebuild it in the middle of COVID. Right before COVID started, we were building a new facility and that still hasn't been finished because...
Right, but the reviews are like 4 years ago from that.
Yeah, I don't care about that. We're talking about CCW, and it has nothing to do with it.
But I'm asking you what has changed. Like, is the stuff going to be...
What do you mean nothing... I mean... What do you mean what's changed?
Well, I'm saying with you, like, if everything was fucked up before...
It wasn't fucked up before. Las Vegas Gunfights has got the #1 gun video in media history.
Oh, no, I seen the video, and it looks like intensive, nice training.
It's awesome.
But how come you don't keep doing it then?
I just told you, I'm not the only one that's been affected. We tried to build a new facility to upgrade, and then COVID happened. So it is what it is.
All right, so listen, the bottom line is whether it's good reviews, bad reviews, the bottom line is, like I said, if you go on to the police departments, right, in general, there's going to be a problem. You can look up reviews right now for any of the police departments, and it's like 3.5, right?
And don't tell me in law enforcement nobody's ever made that joke.
No, I mean, look, people say different things. Doesn't mean that it's correct. Doesn't mean it's right in general.
It's a matter of the intention of the person saying it.
I agree. Like, I'm not like so offended by your situation. It's your class. You're going to teach what you want. If people don't want to show up. Now, the biggest thing is that you're going to, so just real quickly, you're fighting, I don't want to keep talking about this forever, but you're fighting it because you believe it's freedom of speech and it is what it is.
Freedom of speech.
We'll see what happens with the speech. The bottom line is right now, you still have a company, right? You just can't teach.
I didn't get cited. I didn't get nothing.
And I understand that the library, because I did read an article that says the library was saying that they didn't feel that you did anything wrong. That's why you're allowed back to the library, which I find is interesting. I did read that article.
We're going back on September 11th.
Okay, so let's talk about September 11th. What are you doing for September 11th?
We're going to do free CCW for veterans and their spouses.
Why veterans? Why their families? Why a free class?
Because people don't really give our veterans enough give back.
Okay. What do the veterans need to bring to come to this class?
30 rounds of ammo and...
but I mean, how do you know that they're veterans? Like, you checking the DD-214?
Everybody has ID.
Military ID? I mean, are you... Yeah. I mean, everybody has to bring that.
You won't get in the class if you don't present military ID.
And as long as a person comes with a military person, then the other person could take it.
Yep.
A family member.
Yeah, they have to be active, right? They can't,
They can't be retired military?
No. Like... we can't have them dishonorably discharged. They have to have the
DD-214.
As long as they can get on base, to the commissary, then generally that'd be pretty much where we would go. But we're only going to do it for 300. So this one's going to be at West Las Vegas Library on September 11th. So we wanted to do it on that date just because, it's September 11th. And I
agree. So what's your thoughts? By basically having CCW permits for veterans and family members, do you believe that we're making Las Vegas safer?
Any time a person gains training value or puts in time, it does improve the situation. There's never a downside to training. So if they want to get their permits, permits are going to have a greater value going forward because other states are going to have to start recognizing them where they weren't before.
Good point.
So it's a good time to get your permit before that happens because there'll be a mad rush for permits once California opens up reciprocity.
Okay. So I mean that if you have your permit here and they open it up there, if you have a Nevada CCW permit, you're able to go into California.
That's what reciprocity would mean.
Got it.
They're going to have
But they could still block that state.
I'm just saying. I don't know what's going to happen.
But I'm just saying.
We don't know what's going to happen. But that's what we think.
It's a possibility. We hope.
Because, I mean, you see...
Free California.
They took Arizona away from us here.
They did because they went constitutional carry. So, that's better. So
explain the difference, because I really don't know.
Well, I personally think that CCW should be, you automatically get, the concealed carry permit when you move into some area, and then you got 6 months to complete some training, or you lose it. I'm not opposed to that. Because I think the training element needs to be there. Trust me, I have thousands of students, and their targets look like shit.
Okay.
And that's an area that we're very, very good at getting people dialed in on and getting their command of shot. So ongoing training and continuing education, that's a thing I struggle with. Not for me, but for getting other people to continue to discipline themselves and put in time every month to maintain a skill set.
Got it. So we believe that people are safer with CCW permits, getting the training, right? And then we believe that at least their families, or if something major happens, we believe that they may jump into action and take out a threat if something happens.
Everyone needs to get trained at every level, even the kids.
So even if things are becoming more violent in general, you believe this is a way to go. Like, here we're talking about problems, right? The problem is that there's more gun violence and there's more crime in general.
Let's solve it.
I think it's very difficult. I know Danny today was on TikTok saying that unless you basically help with mental health, which is the key. What's your thoughts about regards to mental health? Because all these people are crazy. The ones that get in the shootings up in Highland Park.
Those aren't guys with permits.
That's correct. But they all have AR-15s and they're all mentally unstable.
And they'll never be able to stop them from getting a hold of them. They could steal them. I mean, it's just, there's no way to stop that. And so we really do have to look at the people we lose to gun violence as the invoice for freedom that we get in this country.
It's an interesting perspective. A lot of people probably wouldn't want to hear that, but
it's true. It's true. Our soldiers overseas, they give their lives and
for our freedom.
And so did the people in our country that lose their lives to gun violence. What people don't talk about, and this is a true statistic thanks to Obama, is there's maybe 30,000 gun-related deaths in this country, and that's heartbreaking for any human being. But when you look at the other side of that coin, 2.5 to 3 million times a year, a good guy with a gun presents it to a bad guy, and he screws off. So 30,000 or 3 million, right? You almost have to push those 30,000 off a cliff to save those 3 million, and that's the price we pay for those 3 million.
So that everybody says, like, what about these other countries? Like, what's the country?
They're not free. So let's compare apples to apples. So let's find another free country
that has no guns. Is saying that they took away all the guns from the people.
England,
Australia did that. Look what happened to them. They got
screwed.
Right?
Yeah, they were having their kids stripped from their arms and vaccinated by force. That would never happen here.
I am pro-gun, which I don't carry much or at all. I haven't shot a gun since I retired, but I do have a gun, and I believe in gun rights. I believe everybody should have a right to carry. I believe everybody should have a right to protect themselves. So I'm 100% with you on that.
I want to move forward. Just one last thing that I want to say about your class is, do you think making it funny encourages people to take it serious?
Absolutely. If you do a little research on what skill sets a master level instructor would have, and one of the common threads is their ability and skill to use humor to illustrate important points. And if you look at one of the videos from some of my urban guys that were in the class that said, if Nephi didn't teach it the way he did, I would have failed. I wouldn't have got it.
All right.
And I do have a very wide range of minorities in my class. And in fact, if you look up things like, I don't know, ccwequality.com, where we're pushing to get to sue people like Metro and the Sheriff's Association, that what's really racist is that our CCW tests and applications are not in any language other than English, right? There's nowhere you can get a Spanish test. You can't get it in Mandarin. You can't get it in Pashto. You can't get it in anything but English, which favors white people. These are issues that we've been involved with for years in pressing. And so what you miss in the conversation about telling these jokes is if some pimply-faced redneck were telling the jokes and you didn't have the rapport that I have with my students, because when you and I get cool, we'll bust on each other, right? When we get cool, we'll bust on each other. That's how guys bond with each other. We talk trash. What you miss about that is I never, ever, ever tell a joke of any nature like that, whether it's a sex joke about women or if it's a race stereotype. I never tell any of those jokes until we have all bonded. And once that happens in the class, we're family.
It's like an understanding kind of thing. Yeah,
it's like we're friends.
What do you think about the abortion thing, though?
Oh crap!
Whoa.
That's going to be another hour podcast.
Yeah, that's going to be a whole other hour.
I don't have any kids, but I will say that I don't support it as the go-to. I think it should be last resort. It shouldn't be like just pop a pill, take care of this. I think we should exercise our right to procreate responsibly, and there's an impact I think that it has on a woman's soul. Even if she makes the decision and it's right for her, it's still
it's a study
going to impact her
as a woman. It whatever. It is a study, I did my research on it, that women that do have abortions actually experience more depression, more, like.
So let's not do it as a go-to.
Okay, but can we try birth control for men, contraceptive
I'm down.
things for men before we try to take away women's rights?
Well, hold on a second. Here's where I got
this whole, and then we talk about politics.
We should
and
stop
shit. Like
all
everything
sex in Las
is
Vegas
ran
starting today.
by a whole fucking man.
Whoa. I understand, but we can't mix feminism.
Pills, like we can take some fucking pills that also
kill my shit.
Exactly. Affect our health.
Good. I don't want kids.
Our health. Okay, then don't fucking do that, right?
But
so for the ones that do and like to, their pull-out game is weak. Okay, take some fucking pills. Seriously,
I don't disagree with you about that.
Can we just start there before we make it a whole law
I have to
where we take away women's rights? Like we can get our asses done, we can get our titties done, but we. What?
It's not just your rights. It's also half. If you and I hooked up and you got over your bullshit with me,
this is a whole another motherfucking conversation. Right? I'm not gonna have right now.
That sounds like your 8 o'clock conversation.
I'm not gonna have it.
If we had,
nope. We're talking about CCWs.
You got my baby. Oh, you brought it up. Wait, no, you brought it up.
You brought it up.
No, because I saw.
I'm just the only woman in here.
No, the reason I brought it up,
it's
it's just something to talk about because it came up. But I saw the post that you put, like saying that if a woman's like going through menopause and her tubes are tied and stuff, that she should shut the fuck up and not
carry a gun.
No.
Oh, no. I was about to say.
No, nothing about
because I thought that's what we were here talking about.
No. What I asked him about the abortion because I saw the thing you posted.
It's sarcasm, by the way. If you haven't figured this out about me yet.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's why I asked.
It's a little stereotypical too.
What you believe because I saw the post. So I didn't know if that's like your real belief.
No. I enraged to engage. There's a lot of things I say just for effect. It doesn't mean that I necessarily, religiously subscribe to an idea. Clearly, I don't religiously subscribe to the stereotype. It's just I'm using them to illustrate.
Get like a rise out of people.
It's just like getting a reward for a body in a barrel. Just get some attention.
Don't include this shit in your body in the barrel.
I mean, the truth is, these days people are trying to engage on social media and try to get.
I'm
people.
A marketer.
It needs to be talked about, though.
We gotta get you a thing for like comedy, though.
You need to be a comedian. You really need to be.
I enjoy that. Yeah.
Instead of doing something so serious as the CCWs. No, I'm just.
You understand? I'm a minority.
I'm. Listen.
An Afghan at that.
I was just about to compliment you. So.
Oh wait! Please! I haven't had one in like 6 months.
So one thing that I do respect. Is what you said earlier. And it's just about how many minorities you do have. I know that you are giving out CCWs to them. The joking thing is kind of concerning. I get where you're coming from when you say, hey, like once I engage with them, then we become like family and we can make jokes about that. I don't know exactly what all your races are, your ethnicity, where you come from, where you were born or anything. But giving people a chance, I guess.
You can't tell by looking at them?
Hey, I'm trying to be optimistic here. Okay.
No, but I'm saying if you just look at him or look at certain people, you can tell.
What are you? Can you talk about it?
Can you look? I'm proud.
Would you look at me and tell me what I am? What am I?
Jewish.
I thought that's what I thought.
No.
Fine.
When I seen you on the show, I figured you were Mexican or sometime a Hispanic mixed with something else.
Isn't that racist to say that though?
To a Salvadorian.
Right.
We kind of take it like offensively, whatever. No, it's all good. I am, Central American, Salvadorian, Filipino, and I'm also European.
So do you take it like negatively when someone thinks you're Mexican?
There's that whole history, which is what I was kind of trying to bring up about the whole stereotypical thing. It's more about history. It's also what my daughter had. She's watching, by the way, in the background, and that's what she said. She was like, I wouldn't really call it racist. I would call it more stereotypical. But because there's a lot of history behind it, you know what I mean? History behind Central Americans and, Mexicans, South America, whatever. They do take it offensively. I do not. I don't see it that way. I don't like to see anybody in that way at all. Like, we're all supposed to be treated equally, no matter what skin color we are, race we are. Like, it doesn't fucking matter.
We should do
you're right.
American. We have any American songs I feel like when she said that, we should have the American.
I know. I really was
I feel like our
tearing up.
I feel like they need to.
Can we get a backdrop of American flag waving?
Thank you.
Or something?
Or like that. We need a whole lot more production going on.
Okay, so just to be moving forward with in regards to time.
Yes, move forward.
We went through a lot of different topics in general. We could talk about this stuff for hours and go back and forth. The bottom line is, he's his own person. He can say what he wants. But I want to share one last story, real quickly, in regards to people being racist, making jokes. When I was a police officer in New York City, most of the people were Italian and Irish that I worked with, and I was Jewish, and I was more of the minority being a police officer. But in New York City, it was always like joking, like Irish, Italian, and Jewish, right? And it was kind of acceptable, but I really wasn't big with like jokes like that. Like I really didn't want to be partaking in that, but it almost like became cultural. And I don't know how it was, in Pennsylvania and other places.
Makes sense.
It was like that.
Okay, so
yes, it was like that.
So if I saw the Irish cop, I would say, "Oh, you drinking tonight, right?" Or he would say, "Oh, you're going to go out looking for pennies, and when we go for patrol." And he's like, "Oh, look, Kohlmeier, there's a penny, right?" Like so, for my day, I didn't really want to hear that stuff, right? Because in some regards, you're being made fun of, right? Your religion or your race or your background. I wasn't a big fan with it, but it was more cultural in New York City because NYPD cops go back 100 years, right? So it's a little bit different. And a lot of the NYPD cops were Irish originally. So anyway, coming out to Henderson in general, there was another cop that I worked with that was Jewish, and he used to always make fun of Jews, and he was Jewish with other people around.
And you could do that.
But I didn't. Why could you do that?
Well, he felt that he could do that.
Well, to me, I didn't like it.
But
I was Jewish. I didn't
like
like him because he's making Jewish jokes, which means it's more acceptable to the other people that are not Jewish, and they're laughing about it, right?
Say that.
I didn't think it was funny at all. He offended me more than anybody else in that room, and he's making fun of my people where basically it's his people, or my grandfather was involved in the Holocaust, or was in hiding with my grandmother, and we've lost family members. Like, I didn't think it was funny personally. I had to go up to the cop and say, "Look, I don't think it's funny. You're making us look bad in front of these other people. Plus, being a Jewish cop is more of a minority, specifically in Henderson. Metro probably is next, but in New York City, there's more, but it is more of a minority. I guess I would say the religion that there are cops that are Jewish. Anyway, I didn't like it personally. I had to say something to him. But the bottom line is, I don't think it's good to talk about race and religion anywhere in general. I can understand his take on it. It's his class. If you don't want to be in the class, you read the reviews, you don't go to the class, and it is what it is. So moving forward, whether he doesn't believe that he's racist, he believes that he's using it to engage people. Just like, yes, as I'm saying $5,000 challenge to find the second body, you could say, I'm a horrible person because we're talking about deceased people that are victims of crime, and I'm making a joke of it, where I really wasn't. I really was saying it's a crime prevention initiative. I'm basically trying to apply pressure on law enforcement.
And I'm trying to teach people about bare fear.
Exactly.
And
so I'm not so against. I wasn't there in general, and you're explaining it, I believe, intelligently. A lot of people can get emotional like these guys did in general in the beginning. I can understand their perspective as well, but I understand you're speaking about it in an intelligent manner to engage people, and you're not coming off the bat. You're not.
No, and
you're
it's not the first time I've told them.
And as long as you're talking about like your race or your religion, then I think it's also different.
You want to hear the Middle Eastern joke?
What's the Middle Eastern? Go for it.
Are you Middle Eastern?
Yes, I'm
Okay. I was just
African-American.
asking.
She's like, I thought you were Mexican.
So gun safety for Middle Eastern people, number one, always keep your finger off the trigger until ready to detonate. Number two, never use the range to stone any of your wives, even the ugly ones.
Okay.
And always be sure of your target before you fly into it.
So I think you need to be doing stand up. I mean, it's not in a CCW class, but maybe.
But that's what makes the CCW class.
Again, my daughter is not in this room right now, but she says she completely agrees with what you're saying right now, and that she can also feel uncomfortable in situations, even though she is because her father is Mexican. Even though they make jokes like that she feels uncomfortable.
Yeah, I don't think
she
it's funny
agrees with everything.
It depends on who's saying it.
Okay. What other questions? We're going to wrap up in like 2 minutes because we're going over our time. I'm going to get an invoice for $5,000 I have to fight next week at the lunchtime, taking on some guys.
Because I'm looking for that barrel.
So here's my question for you. What other questions you got? Random questions. Let's go for it.
Why do you like the Disney Target so much?
Oh, I absolutely loved
this guy's
Disney
studying. He's like trolling
growing up.
It depends on who's saying.
I'm talking about Disney. Disney.
To see people take and just ruin it by being political and bringing that into what's the matter with saying good morning, boys and girls? Like
because there were a ton of fucking pedophiles that got arrested.
Well, okay, but I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed. I'm not going to Disneyland anymore. I'm not going to give them my money anymore because they chose a side, and they chose the side that was to be woke and to accuse other people.
To get in politics and be part of a whole.
Because guess what? That made Disney real, and I needed Disney to be magical.
I needed Dr. Seuss to be real.
I needed it to be
I love
magic.
Dr. Seuss.
They made it real, and I hate it now.
It was terrible.
So that was my fuck you to Disneyland.
Well, the stock is worth
Walt
half the price.
Disney would be flipping in his grave.
Anything about the stock in general? What's going? Because it was politics in Florida. Why Disney's stock is now half?
Because half the country's mad at him.
I agree. I mean, all these companies that are going woke, they're going broke. I mean,
going broke.
It's true. Netflix has lost everything. They had all these woke programs on. We don't want this shoved down our throats. It's ridiculous.
And
Live
if you
your
don't
life.
follow it, I mean, it's all money.
So here's a question.
I'm doing this on Netflix now.
Believe me when I tell you, Dave, November, I mean, me and him, we do disagree on some things, but I think our politics are a little bit the same. I think in November, the Democrats are going to get crushed. Crushed. I could be wrong, but they're going to get crushed. Crushed.
Quick question. Someone said with Netflix that there's always transgender being pushed down like in every show.
Usually gay. I'm always seeing guys kissing on Netflix. And it's not even
I just
relevant.
watched
They
Milk
just
on
throw it in
Hulu
there.
today.
Milk?
Fucking love it. Shout out to the...
Oh, it's Sean Penn? Is it Sean Penn?
Is it Sean Penn?
Sean Penn.
Someone was saying that in general, like that with Netflix in general, that everybody's like transgender.
There's something
It was a
in there.
tearjerker.
Every episode, they're making a statement. I'm just watching the show. I like it. And then all of a sudden...
Wait, what is your views on that then?
Well, if I see two heterosexual people kissing in public, I'm going to be like, knock it off, man. We're going to go get a friggin' room.
Okay, so just no public.
Keep it personal.
Okay.
It's personal.
Okay.
Sex
so,
is private.
so you feel the same when it's a man and a man?
I don't want to see none of it. I don't want to see any ugly people kissing.
Only pretty people kissing.
Only attractive people.
Fucking men. I swear.
No, he's saying
I can't.
anyone.
Like literally.
It's like a gun situation. You won't win. Beija.
I'm on your side, Dave.
You're on my side.
No, you're not. You're over there.
That's why I find you attractive. You know?
All right, so
take that out.
Steven, any last questions we have as we wrap up?
No, I'm good.
We have to keep these guys separated.
Steve, you got to come
Maybe
back,
season
man.
with pigeons. Anything other questions? Superfan Steve. That's his new license plate, Superfan Steve.
I like that.
Wait, did you say something regarding pigeons?
Who did?
Who did?
You just did.
No,
Where were you?
I just said no because it was.
We still have never seen a baby pigeon. I'll say it again.
I've seen thousands of them. I'm
Well,
telling you.
Elani
they're
said-
We're gonna get you a
hideous.
baby pigeon for your birthday.
My daughter
hideous.
says, well, if predators are meant to eat them, then they should be able to capture them themselves, and that's the circle of life. He spoke about circle of life. No one else should do it for them. Or else the food source for the predators is just going down, which would make both of the pigeon and the predator extinct.
That's right.
That is in her words.
You're raising a female president. She's
I-
very good.
She needs
Beija.
to be on
problem
this
is-
damn
Yes.
show.
Yes.
Okay.
The problem is you need to get like 50 hawks, on the Las Vegas Strip.
No,
to, like,
I just bring them for them. There's like
Listen, let the nature
65
be nature. Circle
birds.
of life. Circle
All
of
right,
life. You
so
said
let's
it's
just
a circle of
so
life.
let's just recap.
Sir.
The whole point of the show, even though we're having a more of an engaging conversation than normal, a lot of times we have doctors, lawyers, different people, realtors, different people. You being a master firearms instructor, a full contact gunfight coach, you doing CW classes. The bottom line is the goal for us is to solve problems, and not every problem is to be solved overnight. Superfan Steve likes to solve problems throughout the week by texting me different ways of solving problems. That's his new hobby.
I like Steve here, but he's kind of angry. He's got to get a smile on his face. Just one smile. Steve.
Superfan smile, we'll call it. But what I'm trying to say is I will share this. I do think things are more violent. I think that more people having CCW where their firearm is hidden, where they're better off being a witness, but God forbid they have to protect themselves and their families. I think the CCW is key. I do like the fact that you're offering a CCW class to veterans and family members. I do like the fact of people actually, educating and training people. I think that's the most important thing about the class of 8 hours of how to be prepared, because most of the times you can't use your firearm, in general. As a cop, most of the times I would take out my gun and the mentally ill would say, shoot me. And I'm like, shit, I can't shoot the guy. He's not coming at me. I got to use my taser, or he threw a bottle of water at me, but I still
What
can't
do you
shoot
think
the guy.
about open carry, though?
Open carry?
I think that it should be a right, but not a practice.
But I mean, it's legal here, and a lot of people do it. But
It's just not. It's just not tactically smart, and you need to leave your house super hyper aware, because you have something open and exposed that generally doesn't have any kind of retention on it. And
Anybody could grab
trust
it,
me,
right?
I wanted to do a whole YouTube channel called unholstered and just go around and find open carry people and snatch their shit out of their holster. And then
to see how easy.
Oh, you see, you're going to get yourself shot. Yeah, with what?
Your own gun.
I just took their shit. I don't support it from a practical perspective unless it's in a uniformed format.
I agree with that.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
But the problem with this, I think people, the bad people, they see it and they would want to start a fight with you.
It's like walking around with your zipper down all the time. I mean, it's
Danny
no matter what.
Egotistical,
but he
man.
says he's just trying to get more fans on TikTok.
You think you're tougher than me? I'll snatch your stuff, and then
Beija, do you think that's bad because Danny walks around with his zipper down, but he's only doing that to get more TikTok fans? Is that bad?
That's terrible. Can you never ever do that? Let me never catch you doing that.
I've never had my zipper down.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Okay, Steven, that's it. Any more questions you got? I mean, we can bring it back another time. I think we covered it. I mean, the bottom line is we covered these different aspects. Nephi, I really do appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your perspective. Look, people that listen or people who watch us, even though we're joking a little bit more than normally on the show, sometimes we get a little bit serious, and sometimes it's good to...
We're talking about it.
We're talking about it in general in a different light, but I think it's very serious topics. We're talking about people taking people's lives in regards to using a firearm, but I really do believe in the training. I think that the most important thing about your class should be the training, not shooting 30 rounds.
It is.
Just because you shoot 30 rounds doesn't mean that you can handle yourself on the street. Danny, any last thoughts?
Or using feathers to make a jacket.
We could wrap up. Any last thoughts that you want to share? Any other comments?
The only last thought, you are certified now? Like the teach?
Well, I'm going. Yes and no.
Okay.
It depends on we're going through some hearings and stuff right now. But I'm back at the library.
By September 11th, you will be.
Well, I have several instructors.
Oh, okay.
He owns. It's Vegas.
Vegas CCW.
He owns Vegas CCW.
Gotcha.
And he has different instructors. So if he can't teach at this point in time, he's going through hearings to fight it, freedom of speech, right? All that.
And you're also providing free training services, correct?
The veterans.
Okay.
The class.
So that is something that we can find on the Problem Solver?
Yeah. So we're basically what we were going to do is that we were going to let other veterans know if they like him, they dislike him. It's totally up to people. It's a free class. They want to attend. They don't want to attend. We are saying that there's a free class available. The goal with the Problem Solver is to actually provide free resources for people. If you don't like Nephi, you don't like his concepts, you don't like whatever it is, don't show up. The bottom is you want to go to class, you're going to go to class. And he's allowing that to happen. People may not have the extra money just to go and they want to go. Who knows? So again, it's something that Nephi is allowing people to do. Eventually, you may do a class for the regular public as well, but for now, he's just doing veterans and other family members. So I think I applaud him for doing that because whether you like him or dislike his beliefs, he's still doing something for people, getting them a free class.
And get the
you
training.
may really like a guy that teaches CCW class, but he's not giving free classes. I mean, you could say, well, it's his right as well to charge money, and he may not be able to afford to do that. It is what it is. He's doing it back in the library.
I agree with the veterans. I mean, the veterans are heart and soul of this, and we do. I agree with you. We don't treat them right. We don't treat our veterans right. I totally agree with you.
I agree with that, too.
Yeah.
All right, Superfan Steve, any last minute comments? Wrap it up.
No comments. I'm good.
No comments. Superfan
Angry.
Steve.
Listen, maybe Superfan Angry Steve. I got a new name for him. Superfan Angry Steve. What do you think, Beija?
I just want him back. I think on specific topics that you're passionate about, I'd really love to have you here.
Okay.
I agree. Also, we did set up the new thing that we're setting up is two things that we're setting up here new is we are setting up a rant with the Problem Solver where if someone like Steven or anybody, Danny's other superfan god that's out there, if
or my hot-headed ass.
Or anybody.
He just wants to talk to Beija.
Got it. So any rant. So
hey, God.
One thing that I did set up is if you go to the problemsolver.vegas, you can go where a spot that says rant. You could actually upload an audio voice clip of your rant, and then we'll play it on here, and then we can discuss it as well. We're also going to have a new number set up for the next one, which is going to be 1-844-844-RANT. And people can call in, and then we can, have the message. We'll play it, and then from there we can discuss it as well.
Love it.
1-844-844-RANT.
Rant.
I love it.
I tried calling 702 the rant, but someone has it, so I'm trying to work on that.
You want me to take care of that?
If you could take care of that, that'd be great. Nephi is a new person to handle any type of problem solver issues that I can't handle under the law.
Your boyfriend's cheating.
All right, Nephi, anything else that you want to share to wrap it up?
I will just say that the reason that I am able to put thousands of people in the seats at one time is because I have built over the long term those relationships, and once we get in that environment, we really have a great program. And so many other things I joke about to help make it memorable and to drive the points home other than just stereotypes. There's a lot. It's 8 hours of engagement, and they score 92% on their tests. And we all stay friends. 200 people came to my birthday party from that class, and that's like 2/3 of the whole class.
Do your guys qualify the same day? You got to come back at a different day?
Well, we do it on a different, either 2 weeks before or 2 weeks after the class date.
And that's at your range, the range
At my
time?
range, yeah.
Okay.
That's actually good to know and good.
Beija, so here's what we're going to do is, so even though he most likely won't be the instructor for 9/11, but I would say that all of us should go to the class, even if it's another instructor, so we can go.
We'll come back, do a review.
I'll be emceeing it.
So it'll be emceeing. We can go. We can see the class, see how it is in general.
That's a good idea.
So we have, even though he may not be teaching, at least that we can get to see what he's doing because he is offering a free service for the veterans and so on. So I think we should attend as well. You don't want to
I feel like you have good intentions.
I plan on attending as well because the intentions are good. He's trying to help people.
Right.
And like I said, people say negative and positive stuff about myself. Danny, I'm sure you have a bunch of haters out there as well in Pennsylvania.
I don't think, not Danny.
Hey, on TikTok, like, come on.
They
all the ones that fell off, they know they want to come back.
I know.
Beija everyone likes Beija, so that's a good show. Everyone likes Beija. Everyone likes Beija, so we don't have a problem with Beija.
Nobody complains about her, right?
No one complains. So you got a nice smile and you just wink at somebody and then you have no problems.
Did you tell her new job?
What's the new job? I forgot.
What's my new job?
You're going to be the lady that's on the table with the sushi?
Oh,
like the Japanese, where they, like, I've always wanted to do that, actually.
He posted
I'm
it
kinda
today.
gay.
I posted that we were looking for somebody. Actually, we found out here that the studio here, they had an event and
It
sushi.
won't be me, but we can get another lady. I'll be there.
Yeah, we can get like a Beija lookalike for the future for an event or something like that.
So anyways, moving forward.
Everybody wants an experience these days. So we have to do, free CCW class,
right?
Sushi, laid out on the table. Pool events and stuff like that. Anyway, so we're going to wrap
classes,
up.
Hold on, real quick. Self-defense classes, I think, are really important to take with CCWs.
He doesn't really. You don't really do self-defense like karate.
You don't,
it's different,
but I know that
gunfighting more, right?
Yeah.
But you have a source, and is that something that they can come
to? We could actually. I've spoken to some different karate people. They would offer some free classes in general. Probably something in the future we should do.
We'll talk about that later.
But we'll talk about that. So anyway, we're going to wrap it up in general. I really appreciate everyone's. I'm glad that Danny didn't come out of his bones, didn't come out of his skin from his head during this session of the problem solver. And I'm glad everyone that joined, because listen, the bottom line is we live in America. We're lucky to be speaking at Sticky Paws Studio here.
True.
And to be saying whatever we want to say in general,
100%.
Whether you're cursing, whether we think something is racist, whether it's racial, whether it's not racial, at least we can share opinion. And basically we are blessed to be in America to have our rights and freedom. And when we leave here today, we have to have the American flag going and hearing some American songs. But anyway, again, I'm David Kohlmeier, the problem solver. Thanks so much for joining every single Thursday. At 4:30, we're going live talking about different problems in general. We try to solve some different problems, try to come up with some creative ideas with everybody here. I do appreciate my co-host, my guest, Superfan Steve here for the first time. Here's debut. And I feel like we need like a stick figure in the future, like a character, like a He-Man figure from back in the day.
Like if he doesn't show up, there's Steve in the corner. Yeah, I agree.
The wax figure that looks just like him.
We can get a character, like a Muppet.
Like a real angry one.
I got some puppets.
I'll get you a bobblehead.
Does not smile.
Yes. All right, so
hair very slicked back.
So long story short, remember Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Channel 14, with more of a censored voice. We're on TV. Channel 14, Tuesday, 6 p.m. You could join us as well for these different topics. Of course, there's a lot less than this hour and 15 minutes that we're talking. So anyway, I'm David Kohlmeier, the problem solver. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week.